Good night, viewers. You're welcome to Matters Arising here in Kaftan TV, where we serve you issues that are current and, of course, of general interest. Today, we shall be talking on a sad note. It's a matter that is not very, very sweet to hear, but the unfortunate incident that took place in Niger State, BIDA to be precise, in KATCHA local government area of Niger State, where several persons have died following the actions they took, which of course is dangerous, a very dangerous adventure for what may be an attempt to make money for themselves, but unfortunately they perished in that course. Our heart goes to them as we discuss today the experience of those in Niger State. My name is OSARETIN. We shall be talking about the tanker explosion in Niger State, and then we'll be asking, have we actually not learned any lessons from the experiences we've had in the past, where explosions have happened in different parts of the southern parts of Nigeria, and stories of humans who have gone to scoop fuel, as it were, for what they consider making quick money. Unfortunately, they ended up being caught up in the explosion that followed, and they lost their life. This is the issue we'll be looking at today, and with me is an in-house journalist of experience.
My name is OFURUM Stephen, welcoming you to Matters Arising this night. You're welcome.
Thank you very much, my brother Stephen. Straight up to the conversation that is important for us to look at. Tanker explosion. The statistics from the figures running, the one that came up early in the newspapers was talking about 30 persons passing on, being caught in the explosion. But unfortunately, updated figure is telling us that it's rising to over 60. Some are even hazarding 70. This kind of development, given our past experience, let us look at it. In January this year, sometimes around between 16th and 20th, I think around 18th in January, there was a tanker that fell somewhere in Diko. A very similar experience. People rushed to scoop fuel for themselves, and then it exploded. Not less than 30 persons were reported to have died in that particular incident. And then several other persons suffered injuries of various degree of burns. And now a similar thing is happening in October. How many months after? About 10 months after. Have we just forgotten the facts of a tanker explosion? A tanker falling, and then the inflammable oil spilling out of it, and we think that it is safe to be engaged in such a dangerous adventure.
You see, this tanker explosion and burning people beyond recognition has been a reoccurring thing in Nigeria. There has never been any time it happened that people will not be warned, both by individuals or communities and by government. And still, you will still notice that this story keeps repeating itself, which means even before this, not just this year alone, before a very long time, I've been hearing this story. I've been hearing these incidents happening, and it's still repeating itself. It worries me about our national image, how we behave. I'm just imagining, if I have 10 children and one dies out of this tanker explosion because he went there to scoop fuel, will it happen the second time?
Why will a father or a mother allow that happen to her again?
And even if it happens the second time, will I allow it to happen the third time? Who will I blame? Is it the father or the children? You understand? This has to do with orientation and country's image, country's dignity. There are places this thing will not happen. There are countries this kind of thing cannot happen. What are we talking about? What could be the cause? Why people, after knowing that this thing is dangerous, detrimental to your life, and you still go there? What could be the reason?
Yeah, these are the issues we have to look at. What could be the reason? Is it failure of government in terms of providing good road networks such that vehicles will not have the kind of experience that leads to the overturn of these heavy-duty trucks? Is it failure of government in the area of the National Orientation Agency not properly carrying out information as it required to the Nigerian people so that there will be continuous information on the dangers of this kind of experience? Is it also that of the various mass media organization through corporate social responsibility to inform the people in the community that please avoid this kind of place when this incident happen, because it is highly inflammable and dangerous, and any spark could lead to what the nation has just witnessed. We're just coming out of a protest where people are demanding for justice, and while that is still in our head, this unfortunate incident has happened. From here, we actually, from here at Kaftan TV, our condolences to the people of Niger State, to the governor and the people of Niger State, and even the family of those who suffered one loss or the other, and the entire community of this incident. We pray that this kind never happen to us again. But again, we look at this incident. Is it a failure of government in the area of proper orientation? Is it a failure of government in the area of providing good road network? Is it also the failure of the Tankers Association for having very bad vehicles that possibly do not have the capacity to withstand some of these challenges on the road that made them to overturn? Because if you look at it, it is a multi-stakeholder involvement that we need to actually look at and get this thing done. Again, the community on its own failed to have told the people that you do not allow yourself go to this kind of environment when this happened. My brother, who do we blame in this kind of situation?
All right, you know, you cannot you cannot do something wrong, and I know that if I've seen something wrong you've done, and I know that if I have the option of going there or not going there, and I know that the implication of going there will be detrimental, and I decide to go. That is stupidity. If you go there, it's total stupidity. But one thing is this: just imagine that a tanker carrying PMS fell down and poured inside the gutter and was rolling, and you know how
whatever distance it goes, if any fire takes at any point, and it will spread, and people may not know that even if you didn't see, if it rolls far away and people see something coming, and you'll be wondering what is it. The next thing is flame. Before you need flame, and you know the speed, and even if people are not around, people that are passing innocently, it can catch them. Now, in this case, the report is that women and children rushed first because they were more around the environment where it happened in that community, and they rushed, as it were, to go and scoop when the incident happened. Those are eyewitnesses report that were reported by the dailies this morning. So it is.
What I was even trying to say is this: can you see fuel? The way we look at you know, we call it. I've forgotten what you call fuel now. Is it liquid gold or something?
Yeah, liquid gold.
Can you imagine seeing it wasting, and you're just looking at it?
The black gold.
Yeah, the black gold. That's crude oil.
Yes.
Can you just imagine yourself seeing it, and you have a car, and you know that if you can make some money, and you see it wasting, and you just be looking at it. It is somehow.
It is temptuous, yes, but the experience in recent times, if you look at the last 10 years, where I've had very unfortunate cases across the Niger Delta and other parts of the country where we have this explosion. Niger State, some parts of Niger, Kwara, Jigawa, Kogi, Lokoja, where that explosion, that spill, the kind of one you're talking about, tanker fell and the petrol was just running down the what do you call it, the drainage. And when I passed after some, we're gonna pass by that place. I saw how far it went. So people, of course, who were not even going to school were victim of that kind of situation. So it is very unfortunate. Given that kind of experience, should the people have allowed themselves to be tempted, like you were saying? Should they ever have allowed themselves to be tempted to go for what they know is death? Actually, it appears good, but there is more death in going to scoop from that fuel.
The way I look at it is this. Can you imagine what could happen if a Nigerian would see something like that and just pass and don't bother? That means that the person is no longer hungry, the person is not looking for a job. You know, when the system is running, you will see those things and it will not worry you. There are things you will see now it will not worry you, because that thing has no much value than what you have. You understand? I feel no matter what the government will say, no matter what the National Orientation Agency, the kind of orientation or reorientation they will give, if tanker fails today, even if it's carrying diesel or kerosene, people will go and scoop it. It will.
So the hunger issue should...
The hunger that is the problem. That is the major problem. I will still blame the government about it. But you can't be blaming the government and you are the one that is dying. That is where I say people are not sensible enough.
So there must be a sense of responsibility on the part of
people. Yes.
Our government also
should do what is necessary.
Find itself accountable.
Yes.
So we cannot totally dismiss the action of the system, of the economic system, on the people to this particular incident.
That is what is causing it. Because if people are busy, they may not even have time for those things. If people are not hungry, they may not be thinking about what are they going to use it. They may not even know that they will use it to make money. I know there are some countries this thing will not affect anything. And secondly, in the real sense of it, having tankers operating on our road, they're supposed to have their own separate lines laying to ride on, or it's supposed to be railway that's supposed to be transporting this
information. Infrastructure is yet complete.
Exactly. For how long? I don't even know whether the government is thinking about that anymore. It's even dangerous, even if it's not carrying, if the tankers are not carrying petroleum metal spirits. It's even dangerous for the tankers, big lorries, to be operating on our major roads. These are the things that have been happening, and it will be saying, let us manage it, and it has become the normal. It is not normal. Government should take responsibility for anything that happens. It has to do with our national image, and our national image will reflect the dignity of the people of that country.
Well, it is a very sad one. To think of the number of persons that have been consumed, and this is indeed avoidable in the incidents in Niger State. We'll soon be throwing the lines open for you to join us in the conversation. And we also want to look at, for this that has happened, are they deserving of compensation? Because, and if they are deserving of compensation, who should also consider giving them, sending this compensation to them? We do agree that NEMA, as a responsible institution of states, will have to respond to see how the persons who were injured and are in various hospitals are catered for. And again, families of those in the communities that will require assistance by virtue of the implication that this has come up. Again, we'll look at what the PIA says in conditions such as this. Before we throw the lines open, we shall now go on a break, after which that will be done. Welcome back, viewers. You are still on Matters Arising here at Kaftan Television. And I remain OSADEBAMWEN with my colleague here, Steve OFURUM. We are looking at the issues around what happened at the ESSAN BADEGGI community along the BIDA road, where several persons were killed or were burned to death by virtue of the unfortunate incident that happened following tanker overturn. And the stories by eyewitnesses were that the people who attempted to scoop fuel for themselves. The line are open, and we want you to join in the conversation, and that is indeed a sad one for us as a nation. Because whatever happens, such as this in one part of the nation, affects us in other parts of the country as well. Because we are all human people, we are all human beings bound by one national destiny. It's indeed an unfortunate incident. Please let the calls start coming in. We'll be looking at the PIA. What does the PIA consider about this issue? The PIA talks about host community, communities that are host communities where the oil are being produced or through which the oil is being transported. If exposed to any danger of this kind, like pipeline leakages, which is legal, not illegal pipeline leakage, but pipeline leakages arising from a long stay under the ground, rust, and whatever kind of natural incidents. Yes, whatever damage caused to the farmlands, to water, and even houses or people are deserving of compensation from the federal government under the PIA. However, if such action is illegal, which this of course falls in as illegal, because when the tanker fell, everybody expected that people should be responsible enough to avoid going to the tanker, going to scoop fuel, and so you are not expected to go to do that. And so the PIA does not envisage supporting anybody who does something like this, or if it is in other case where they go to break pipeline, they are not entitled to benefit. They should be punished, even if they suffer any kind of damage. But these, of course, require that people should be responsible and avoid these avoidable debt that has been suffered by the people. Well, NEMA, naturally, what would you have expected NEMA to do in a situation like this?
Well, they are called an emergency agency. It's an emergency situation. But before I talk about NEMA, NOSDRA supposed to take action on any oil spill. When a tanker driver falls, when a tanker
National Oil Spill
Detection and
Prevention Agency.
Yes. When even if you spill oil in your kitchen, you're supposed to be punished. You're supposed to have there's supposed to be something done to you. You're supposed to take care of it within a certain period of time. For that tanker to fail, and maybe what I know is that NOSDRA has a duty to make sure that these things are taken care of before it causes disaster. But NEMA, on their own, for some time now, NEMA has been very, very responsive and responsible. Unfortunately, it is not a preventive agency. It's not a preventive agency. Even some people have argued that even NOSDRA should be a preventive agency, not an emergency, a response agency. When people have that already, you now start taking action. There are a lot of things that can happen. But that will only be where NOSDRA is able to dictate any oil spill, because by its name, the oil spill, if it is detected, I do not know if we have really successfully have automated detection of oil spill. There is something they call tracker. There are some agencies, I think There's an SDN that works with them. That's the Stakeholder Democratic Network that works with them. They are a non-governmental organization that move around, go to the host communities and see what is happening. When they get the information, they come to NUPROA, that's NOSDRA and some other agencies under the under energy. You understand? They go to them and give them data and information for them to act responsibly. So they do that. What the name given to NOSDRA? Some people have argued, especially these host communities, their leaders have argued that why must it be OSP response? OSP can be avoided now. It can be avoided.
Once it is detected, it should be avoided from spilling.
From spilling. Before it's even spilled, you should detect it. These agencies that are working with them develop tracker. Even methane, not only oil. There's a methane tracker that has been developed so that methane that is under dust and rubbles, can be tracked. And you know, they said it's very dangerous to health. So all this, when you have all these things, you can use your tracker to know that, oh, this place, if you don't take care of this, it's like when you in your house, when you see that, or you are driving your car and you match your brake, your mind will be telling you this brake will fail very soon. Go and check. There can be trackers that can detect those things. Now, NEMA on their own is an emergency response organization or agency. There's nothing they can do. Immediately they hear, they rush. If fire is burning, even the fire service, if fire is burning, before you even reach there, fire has done a lot of damages. You understand? You can only gather what was left, and that's what NEMA would do. I don't know whether NEMA can compensate or can punish. I don't know. Their own is emergency.
Well, it's also respond. Their job is purely response. They respond to emergency situations. Like those who are victims now in the hospital that may not have immediate resources of response, because it is indeed a national disaster. Over 60 persons dying in one swoop. It is not at all an incident that can be ignored. It is an incident that attracts national attention. And so it is not out of place that NEMA, as a government interventionist agency, should respond and make sure that some sort of succor, an amelioration of the challenges the people face is done. Like those in the hospital who may require one or two attention, it is not out of place that NEMA will be able to make provision of some of these medical support to boost the capacity of the medical outfits that these persons are rushed to before they go for any other tertiary services that may be required, given the degrees of burn. Because of course not all of them who suffer the fireborne may die out of it, but particularly those who would have just been coming in when the thing explodes, they may be on their way out, and those who were coming and were close and they move out, of course such kind of persons may just not suffer as much damage as those who have lost their life. Once again, we are expressing our own condolence to the people of Niger State, particularly those of the ESSAN BADEGGI community along the BIDA expressway who suffered these unfortunate incidents. We are with you in sorrow, because it is indeed an unfortunate thing. We're expecting you Nigerians to call and share your thoughts on how this can be preventable, and we're also expecting you to call and maybe share your thoughts on the situation, and that is indeed unfortunate in this time of our national development. So can we look at the Is there a need for government to exercise punitive measure on some of these what do you call it?
That's oil business.
No, yes, the oil businessmen, because right now there has not yet been findings to ascertain the immediate cause of it, but even experiences for the past, we have not heard of any kind of sanction that has been meted out to this kind of persons, because we've not heard of results for the outcomes and any sanctions, because sometimes, as painful as it is, when people invited death upon themselves like these persons may be said to have done, knowing fully well that this is highly inflammable liquid. We all drive to the petrol station to buy fuel, and you see the sign, don't use your phone there, don't light up cigarette there, don't put up anything that would lead to a spark in that area, which is an indication of the level of inflammability that is associated with the liquid sold at the filling station, which of course is this fuel. And this fuel certainly is being conveyed from what do you call it? It's being conveyed from the depot to a filling station, so that the services of the fuel station can also be gotten by the various motorists, depending on the state that particular tanker was going. So for it to have had an accident which led to it spilling its content, people should have been responsible to avoid going to scoop. And yes, in death, which will appear, the risk of appearing or of sounding insensitive, because why invite death upon yourself?
Yeah, I'm even thinking, do you know, all the agencies, all the ministries, all the parastatals are at the federal level, state level. But when you go to the local government level, you won't see a lot of them. And when that thing happened, NEMA at the local government level, what I read is that the director at the national level called the director at the state level, then they activated their rescue and their team and went down there. If actually, even if it's one person at the local government at that time had it and made a call, you understand, if before that thing caught fire, that place would have been cordoned off. You understand? But I'm also imagining, must it catch fire? Must it catch fire? That thing can stay there, happen, and no fire. You know something that happens when they tell you that here there's something in it.
People may experiment.
Yeah, people would like to go and at least touch. If you touch it in there, you put your hand, you keep putting it until that you will not get that thing you're looking for. You may be surprised. Someone say, hey, look at this people, they have gone there again. I go throw fire here now. They will just switch on, and that thing will start burning. Because I have seen a situation, things happen, and it's not supposed to catch fire. But the situation has always been the same whenever these things happen. And you see it, people even video it, and you see people rushing
to scoop.
People will not know that this thing is very, very dangerous.
No, but to be honest, given the level in which we have experienced this in different parts of the country, can anybody in this 21st century say, in 2025 Nigeria, say that he or she does not believe that there can be an explosion when there is such spill of oil content from a tank?
They believe, but when people are hungry, they take risk. Do you know that I've had this situation where someone who was residing in another country, a Nigerian, someone I know, he is residing in another country, and before he left to Nigeria, he said he's going to carry drug in the foreign country.
And he knows very well that...
He knows the implication. When I asked, do you know the implication? This is what's going to happen to you. He say no be dead, no be death, no be person they die. Waiting, if you no get mind, you no go do this. If you no do this, I just look at the person. You know, when
calls for serious reorientation.
You know, when people are looking for something, when people are hungry, they think that taking risks means if you don't do it, you will not get what you're looking for. But if it's like that, many businessmen will not succeed, because you will see something that is a risk. You know that if you put your money, you lose it, and you're putting your money there. That thing is stupidity. It's not risks. It's not taking risk. You could take calculated risk. So these are the things that are happening. Can the government really fight hunger? That is the first thing. Our land is blessed. Agriculture, Nigeria can feed themselves and feed other countries. Africa as a whole can feed themselves.
So the issue of hunger should have been conquered by virtue of our population and land
and assets. This kind of thing is part of insecurity. It's hunger that is causing it, as far as I'm concerned. Because if people are not hungry, they will not even think about anything negative to feed themselves.
Well, I'm trying to look at the issue of compensation. Obviously, the tanker driver association must have a kind of insurance policy for their property. And so for incidences such as these, their heavy-duty trucks, of course, enjoys some level of insurance.
Yes.
And given the circumstances so far in the open before the insurance company carry out the investigation, is there any way that ESSAN and BADEGGI community can enjoy some sort of compensation?
You know what?
Or the people from that area or relations of such persons who have lost their life?
You know one thing. The other day I said it here that if you directly, it may have happened indirectly, but that one I don't count it. Directly, I've not benefited anything from Nigeria, and I have to believe that even if such benefits exist, it will not function. It will not work.
But to be difficult, don't you think it to be difficult? We'll come back to this issue of compensation. Insurance and compensation. Well, looking at this, do you think any Nigeria who is above 50 can actually say that he or she have Nigeria happening to her positively? Look at the education system. Yes, there may have been strike experienced by people within that age. Would they say that the fees paid by their parent was not hugely discounted for them to have gotten the quality of education they got?
But what was the need of?
Well, I really I'm responding to that.
Yes. What was the need of going to training me in school? After school, I will not have job. I will not feed well.
And you say you have not been empowered with marketable skill to be able to put yourself
do you know what happened?
The market?
Maybe we are debating a lot, but let's talk about it.
Yes.
Do you know? I have a.
In our deviation, we link up.
We link up to this.
Yes.
I have a younger cousin who was far younger than me. So he came out from the university and decided because he was looking for a job he was not getting, he decided to travel to America. Myself, I said the job I was doing in the private sector is not giving me. Let me go and study and plan myself for the next 2 years. I will achieve something bigger. He himself he went there also to study for 2 years and achieve. I resigned my job, went to study. After studying, I now entered to look for a job. Do you know, since that day till today, you can't compare both of us.
So you think, but the
system is not helping.
Yes, but you cannot deny that Nigeria did not in any way that indirectly impact on you or indirectly, because
I can say indirectly, but directly no.
Because the level of subsidy enjoyed in education, even in health before. Yes, of course, that time
was that subsidy during our time. There was no subsidy. There was no subsidy.
No, you cannot say there's no subsidy in education. In education, you cannot deny it, because The private school will tell you clearly that.
What kind of education? I studied in international education.
That we are digressing. So we can do this as a topic some other time. But let us look at this painful scenario, which is why we are here today to look at the unfortunate incident that happened in KATCHA local government area of Niger State, where over 60 persons were killed by virtue of their own misadventure. Some of them, of course, of their own misadventure, trying to increase their revenue by going to scoop fuel, which they believed they can easily make quick cash from. Unfortunately, there was an explosion following the spilling of the content of the tanker, and then they were all consumed by the inferno. We are still very much saddened by this development, but again, we need to draw lessons from them, because the question is, have Nigerians not learned anything given the experiences we've had in the past that are similar to this, where there are oil spillage and people went to scoop fuel, and then there was an explosion, and then we have charred images of human beings that were consumed by such a fire incident that broke out from there. Here we are talking about this development. We are looking at the insurance company that may have insured the tanker that got what they call it, that got destroyed by virtue of this incident. How possible can the people in that community be able to benefit, where possible, from the compensation arising from that incident? My colleague has said that is not what we can totally look at as possible.
Well, so long as Nigeria is concerned, there is a lot of corruption. If insurance exists, it will not function properly. And is the vehicle that may be insured, the people we are not insured.
Okay.
We are not assured, because the owner of the vehicle
did not know where any such accident could happen. So whether flood taking over the vehicle, whether fire incident or accidents, and so
the insurance, they may receive the insurance to replace the vehicle, but the people, nothing goes for them. I'm even asking if the fuel they are scooping, most of them, they don't have car or even motorcycle. They don't have. They are going to sell.
It was intended for sale.
For sale. How much are they going to make? How much? Look at it now. Can you even get a 50 liter from those scooping? Those 50 liters, if you get it, how much are you going to get? 50 liters, will you be able to make up to 20,000 naira? I don't think.
With 50 liters at 900 naira, 900 naira per liter, 980. Yeah. How much per liter?
That's
at 950 or 1,000 per liter. In some cases, black market, it should be by
40 something thousand.
Yeah, but that's it.
For something thousand, and you may not even get up to 10 liters. That's around 10,000 naira.
And so many people went there hoping to make 5,000 naira or 3,000 out of it, and then their life is lost. Mothers, children.
Sometimes
our heart goes out to them here from this point. Insurance is not feasible, as we can see, for the people of ESSAN and in BIDA communities that were consumed, BADEGGI communities that were affected by this incident. But we believe that the Tankers Association may want to extend certain benevolence to the people, and so that if they allow that to take their hearts and then extend such benevolence to the people, there may be some kind of compensation reaching out to them, not necessarily from the insurance company, which of course is any money from those who are committed to paying their what do you call it, that qualify them for insurance. It is very interesting that nobody seemed to be calling us, and our time is almost up, but before we do that, we will need to look also at how can government agencies be able to instill into the people the sense of responsibility to preserve their own life when this kind of incident happen. We cannot avoid it. I can tell you this first one that happened this year was in January here at Diko Junction in where you are going into Niger State, and then that claimed over 30 persons with over another 30 persons with various degrees of injuries that they suffered from it. And then this one coming 10 months after, and the people were still not conscious of that what's it called, danger. If you were to advise anyone in incidents such as this, what would be your advice to any community where such a thing happens in the future, where there's a spill, following tanker fall?
You know, it is good. Anything you're doing, be deliberate about it. Be conscious about it. Do you know that if something is happening somewhere else, it has not reached to your place, you think it doesn't concern you? You'll be surprised that many people have not heard about this. They're supposed to be, even at an individual level, not only by government. If someone who is a media person like we are, if we see such incidents and we have the materials to work with, we can do a little jingle. And as part of corporate social responsibility for the media organizations, if someone dedicate himself and do a little jingle about it, they can use it to spread it. The social media is there. Many young people are on the social media. All these things supposed to fly and coordinate. I mean, well planned. The information, well, it's not just putting it there. Citizens, journalism, anybody can interpret it the way he wants. Coordinate the interpretation so that people will be informed. And if you're taking action, you know the consequences of your action. And parents also should. Sometimes parents, I wonder, because it is happening, you send your children, hey, go and follow your fellow children and do that, so that because you are looking for money, you are looking for something to use to feed your children, you just allow them. Parents should also be informed and educated so that they will be able to direct and guide their family.
All right. Parents should take responsibility. Mothers, please, having your children on your back and having some in your by your hand and leading them into such incident, please do not do that. It is unfortunate what has happened. We have come to the close of the discussion and conversation today on the topic, another BIDA explosion. Have we not learned anything at all from history, given the experiences that has happened in other parts of the country, and even in Diko Junction earlier this year in January 18th, where over 30 persons were lost. We have come to the end of today's show on Matters Arising. Once again, we are also sending our condolences to the people of Niger State for that huge loss from Kaftan Television and from this program. May God guide us and help us. We also need to thank those at the back end who made this production possible while you are seeing us live without any form of interruption. Our dear sister Favor, our wonderful and handsome brother Ifeanyi, and then we have Mr. Ben, who is doing excellently well, and Victor, ensuring that the equipment are up and doing to allow this free flow. We say thank you, viewers. We're grateful for joining us on this program. My name is OSADEBAMWEN.
And I am OFURUM Stephen.
And as we say here, good night here, as we say here on Kaftan TV, imagine a beautiful world. Good night.